Yeah, na, yeah. Certain fire flames, now I'm born again. Times really change. Talk truth, we seen better days. The youth not safe again. What a damn shame. Talk truth, how that them are promote. So quick them selling out, them sold them cashing out. Yeah, well this is Kinetic 9 representing for IjahStars and the mindset. Then I move right, get your mind checked. Oh yeah.
Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to IjahStars The Mindset. Today I want to take you on a journey, one that promises to transform lives across Africa. Our mission is simple yet profound, empowering communities, celebrating culture and nourishing lives. Over the next 7 months, we'll be traveling to 7 different countries, connecting with Rastafari elders, documenting their incredible wisdom and celebrating their rich cultural heritage. But our mission goes beyond just interviews and storytelling. In Ghana, where the streets echo with the laughter and resilience of homeless children, we extend our hand. Through our campaign, we aim to provide nourishment, education, and hope to these young souls. Picture this. A child who once wandered the streets now has a place to learn and grow. That's the power of collective effort. Our vision is to create a ripple effect of positive change, extending beyond Ghana to touch the lives of children all across Africa. Imagine communities uplifted, traditions preserved, and compassion sown like seeds in fertile soil, and this is where you come in. We invite you to join us in this mission. Together, we can uplift communities, preserve traditions, and sow seeds of compassion. Let's be the change we wish to see in the world. If you resonate with our cause, we invite you to support us. Your contribution, whether big or small, will make a difference. Visit our GoFundMe page to donate and share our journey with your friends and followers on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Every pound counts, and together we can create lasting impact. Thank you for being part of IjahStars The Mindset. Let's spread love, hope, and positivity across Africa and beyond. Stay blessed.
Yeah, man, give thanks. Hold a question, I hope I have time. I hope we have enough time, though.
Yes, sir.
The Bible, since we on that line, and His Majesty saying that it transcends all boundaries and barriers. It remain the same. The Ethiopians have a different canonized Bible from what we are accustomed to out here in the West, which is the King James version, and the Ethiopian version has more than 66 books. So them have the complete version of the Bible, and we have a translation of the Greek or the Hebrew or the Amharic or Ge'ez text. You see that though, because it was His Majesty speaking from the perspective of the entire canonized version that he have in Ethiopia, different from what is out here in the West.
I think that His Majesty was talking about all the Bibles, because when you read the scripture, there's a message that's trying to be conveyed, and that's the essence of His Majesty's teaching. There is about the message, and also in modern time, in our generation and before, for the last 100 years more, about around that time, the Apocrypha, is available. So these other books that are part of the Ethiopian canon can also be read. It's just they're not included as like standardized. And obviously, even with that term, apocryphal, it's kind of like saying that it's like a a side story, like it's not part of the main story, you know. So it is there for the seekers, like the knowledge is there for the seekers to get the same message. But I think that overall, that lesson that there's more books in the Ethiopian Bible just tells us why we should get to know His Majesty's church and His Majesty's place in the church also, because that is very, you know, whether you are standing as an outsider or as an insider, as someone that's been baptized, I think that to be respectful and overstanding and see how you can improve yourself based on some of these concepts that are so close to His Majesty that you can't really go wrong there. And likewise, I would say to Ethiopian Orthodox Christians that to get to know Rastafari, to understand the journey that Rastafari have been on and their place in the world and the popularity of the Rastafari culture and that burden that they carry for Ethiopia and have carried to protect Ethiopia and His Majesty in the world, to understand that and to see Rastafari's place as a unifying force, you know, within communities on a micro level or a macro level. Rastafari has been a unifying force and a force to overcome, you know, and to bring people together, all the cultural products of Rastafari, you know. These things, you know, they deserve respect within both ways, you know, both ways.
Yes, I. Totally. How do you view yourself as a Rasta man? Because within the movement, you have 12 tribe, you have Nyabing, you have Bobo Shanti. How do you see yourself in that aspect?
For His Majesty, you know, that's the basic thing, the absolute essential for me. When I was in London, I used to attend, you know, events of the Nyabingi National Council, and I work with them closely now at Fairfield House. I work with EWF members closely. We've achieved great things at Fairfield House. A large part of my studies as a historian, as a researcher, are to do with the history of the Ethiopian World Federation and Dr. Malachi Bayan, and obviously that period of exile and Ethiopia's tribulations in the 1930s and 40s. So I think that there's ones to learn. You know, my Empress, her father-in-law is in the 12 tribes, and when I visit in Barbados, I would attend with him also. When I was visited Shashamani, I made sure to go and sit with all the mansions to just see, you know, to hear some stories, to learn something from different perspectives. But earlier this year, I was baptized, and that's reflecting my personal journey in my faith. And I was baptized in a very special place, Miske Hazanan Medhani Alem, which is the consoler of the bereaved, and it's known as Sedetnil Medhani Alem, which is the savior of the world in exile. And this is the church in Addis Ababa that the emperor built to house the Tabot Medhani Alem, which he gave him his spiritual strength whilst he was in Bath. And I was involved leading the project for the Sacred Garden to preserve that area of Fairfield House. So it's like a personal, very special thing to have the honor, you know, for that to be bestowed on me. But that doesn't change, because Rastafari is His Majesty's name, you know, and that's His Majesty, and His Majesty brought me this far, and, you know, inspires me as a human being, and I am committed to His Majesty's ideals, and His Majesty's ideals are to save the world from ultimate destruction. So this is a big task, you know, and with all that's underneath that, we've got obviously the liberation of the suffering people, to move Africa forward, you know, to uplift ones all across the world with the benefits, you know, and to proliferate Ethiopia, you know, as well, like Ethiopian views, Ethiopian respect, the Ethiopian church, you know, these things are all within that. But it's a personal journey. And yeah, when I was 5 years old, I told my mum I want to be baptized. And yeah, and all those years later, on all different kind of journey, that's what it came to be, you know. And my godfather is Medhani LM. That's through the mystics. This is how it happened at the church. And my baptismal name is Haile Selassie. So it really felt like a moment that I was reborn, and I think as a ritual, like for human beings, like to access eternal life, you know, in the way that Jesus Christus has described. I think that's important. Yeah, very important. I think that everyone can also access the divine in their own ways, and I think that for me, those spiritual heights they come in quiet moments of, you know, very quiet, almost like isolated moments, you know, by myself in tends to be holy places, or could be anywhere, you know. It's not necessarily in a congregation personally where I'll reach the highest feeling, you know, of that closeness with the Almighty. So the work's important and the faith is important.
Yes, Selassie, I know. Yeah, man, give thanks. Yeah, all right, Maja. The eyes of mixed heritage, right?
Yes, I.
All right. How do you see reparation and repatriation? Do you think that you know, for the involvement that, you know, England play, the role that they play, you think that they should be playing a role now to compensate and help to repatriate Rastas who, and not just Rastas, but, you know, Africans in the diaspora who want to go back to Africa?
Yes, I think that reparations need to be in the form of repairing the inequality of opportunity, of access to education, of access to healthcare. You know, I traveled widely in the Caribbean, and there's a big difference to the opportunities that I've had in this country to a fellow ancestor of transatlantic slavery that will be living in the countryside across the Caribbean, you know, and what they're actually able to have access to. And that is directly related to the, you know, stripping of the country for generations, and to that downpression, educational, you know, in many different aspects that come through. So for me, reparations and the talk nowadays is almost like sometimes it feels like on a low level, like people talking about a cash thing, you know, like when's the cash coming? And what you have to realize is like that cash would just get absorbed into the local economy where it's given, most likely, you know. So that's not the impact, that's not the change, you know. You want actually change to come at a institutional level right down and through the world, you know. That would be very important. So that's reparations for me. I think His Majesty is also on our side. You know, he sought reparations for the war. He had different proxies, you know, or people his supporters that were taking up that cause. Sometimes the political balance, you know, maybe not allowed the circumstance to follow through, but nevertheless, he's spoken in favor of repair. And repatriation, I think, is really important because, like, related to reparations as well, I've had the opportunity to trot to Ethiopia twice, you know, amazing. But likewise, you know, when I go to the Caribbean and you talk about it, it can feel like a million miles away, you know, like an impossibility because of the economic situation. So repatriation and one's actually touching Africa is very important, or to actually move Africa centrally into your consciousness, Ethiopia centrally into your consciousness is very important. I also would feel that, you know, as a researcher and historian looking into Rastafari communications also, sometimes I have felt as if, why are we writing to the monarch in this country, the UK, you know, asking for ships and so forth? Yes, they are owed, but we can also, you know, in the light of Marcus Garvey in his entrepreneurial capacity and many other, you know, amazing ones from the diaspora, we can also make that a reality ourselves. You know, we live in a time where it, you know, you could, you know, although it may seem impossible because of the down pressure, it's not actually impossible, is it, to return to Africa? It's possible in this time. We have to be thankful for that and use the benefits of modern technology, as His Majesty would say.
True. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, with the eye on that level. That in terms of getting ships and so on. Yes, we can do it, and I think we should do it. Zine. But
yes, one aspect I realized I missed, is because as someone of mixed heritage, obviously I also have an opinion on how white people should repair their attitudes and their approaches to anyone, you know, but in particular black people, but anyone that has been affected by colonialism, because there's two sides to this, you know. And His Majesty teaches us greatly, is that there is allies within this place, you know, within this country too, that are fighting for change, and that's important in the wheels of motion, you know. It's important to have different perspectives towards the change, and that's what will bring it about, this huge change.
That's important you said that, you know, and it lead me to ask this question, because, you know, as the eye is saying that colonialism has impact, you know, the African community, you know, very bad. Then, and through all of that, you know, Rastafari has come about, the movement, due to that depression and oppression, right? Now, in the eyes of many Rastafari brethren and sisters, Zine, from a Pan-African point of view, they don't see Europeans coming into Africa and settling into Africa. But you do have a lot of European Rastas today, and some of them you will see some of them in Africa. What is your view on that?
It depends on their attitude, to the thing, because His Majesty had many Europeans uplift Africa, and even Italians, built many of the holiest places, for His Majesty, cathedrals and so forth. And I think everyone has their place, and their potential, but you shouldn't have this attitude of expecting everything, or entitlement. Definitely you need to be the humblest of the humble, because it's not an easy road, but within the story, His Majesty's story, there is examples on all racial dynamics of how to serve him, and that for me is the essence of Rastafari, serving His Majesty. So I think that we, it might be the same for the eye, but economically, living in this country, when you trod to a place far out in the next country, anywhere across the world, and you meet people, or maybe it'll be in this country, where you meet people that are severely disadvantaged, you feel obliged, like a weight, that you must show kindness, you must help do what you can, to change things. And say your ancestors were oppressors in any time in history, in recent history, that has had a causal effect today, you also have an obligation to be in the midst of that, to be trying to repair things. So that is almost like reparations isn't just a term for black people. It really needs to be a concept that is fully understood by white people also, and all people, that would be very, very crucial for that. So personally, the other thing is that Ethiopia and His Majesty have to, if they're staying in the center point, then this is an all-nation situation. We're uplifting Africa and it's African trod, but this is, fully expect, if His Majesty is who he says he is, or is who we say he is, then this is going to be the worldwide scene, because the Messiah isn't, he's there for everyone. It's not just one set of people. One set of people might cite him, but he's there for everyone to uplift,
Natural.
Yes,
Natural. Yeah, because if man and woman was created in the image and likeness of the Most High, then all man and woman is entitled, to worship and praise the Most High Creator. You know what I mean? There's no wire fence or any restriction. No one can put a restriction and who praise or worship the Most High.
Yes, I.
Yes, I. So, all right, my lad. Africans for the Africans, home and abroad, born and unborn. A slogan from Marcus Garvey.
Do you know who said it before then?
Go on.
Martin Delaney. Yeah. Delaney, he was, inspirational figure in time before Garvey, for black people, civil rights, and that was his phrase that Garvey's paraphrasing.
Saying and Garvey really amplify it then.
Yes, he's known for it.
Rastafari. What's the thoughts on the whole talk about Marcus Garvey disrespecting His Majesty?
Yes, big topic as well. Like recently, we had a day at Fairfield House, an evening discussing that controversy exactly, you know. And I come at it from the scholarly perspective, you know, to history. So there is a clear evidence trail of, you know, Marcus Garvey's words towards the emperor, and also the reactions of Dr. Malachi Bayen, you know, close to the emperor, speaking through the voice of Ethiopia, defending His Majesty as well. And so evidentially, you know, that's what occurred. There was a tension there that unfolded, and His Majesty obviously has many things going on at this time. He's got the weight of his country on his shoulders. He's an emperor in exile. He's written in his autobiography that some people will write the story of my life, representing as truth what in fact arrives from ignorance, error, or envy, you know, at this time, at this exact moment also. So
you think it was Marcus he was talking about when he said that?
Not just Marcus, but Marcus is certainly included in that, in the twist that he took against His Majesty, you know. Marcus Garvey, you have to step back, you know, but Marcus Garvey on a factual side is known for Speaker's Corner. You know, he was saying proudly, "I'm for Mussolini, down with Haile Selassie." And that was in the presence of ones like George Padmore, C.L.R. James. So, you know, this is known that Marcus Garvey took this turn. But we also know that in that John the Baptist role as the forerunner, preparing the minds of African people to actually cite the Messiah and give their support to Ethiopia, his work is critical. And also, like John the Baptist says, you know, I must decrease, so he must increase. So it was almost like mystically, Garvey had attuned himself to this frequency. And at that important moment, a lot of support from Africans in the diaspora went to His Majesty when it was really needed, and His Majesty thanked them directly in his autobiography. So, you know, it's all in the mystics of the Almighty, you know, and of how things played out. But later on, in 1963, His Majesty said, "When we say Africa for the Africans," and then he expanded on that, you know, he quoted Garvey. And of course, His Majesty laid a wreath 3 years later, 1966, at the grave of Marcus Garvey. So he saw his place in the upliftment of the African people. So I think there's a lesson in it for all of us, because sometimes it's the overall impact that you will make, you know, that will leave that impression, you know, in humanity, is what you're striving for overall, you know.
So one shouldn't really be taking this as a disrespect then from Garvey.
Well, it is a disrespect. It's a massive disrespect, you know, because His Majesty is going through the massacre of Addis Ababa. This is 1937 that we're talking about, you know, and Marcus Garvey has changed his tune. But if one's look into what Dr. Malachi Bayen said in defense of the emperor, then for me, there's no question that he outlines that, you know, Garvey is wrong in the stance that he's taken. And it's questionable at that time, after such a career of uplifting black people, of raising their consciousness towards Ethiopia, why at this very important moment he is, you know, turned another way. So for me personally, there is no question, you know, that Garvey took that stance. I understand that especially from the night that we had at Fairfield House reasoning about it, that to Rastafari this doesn't matter, you know, they knew this all along. That's what the elders said at Fairfield House, you know, in this thing, because it doesn't stop the love of Marcus Garvey for what he's done for our people. So yeah, we have to, just as Rastafari, we're not Garveyites. We might be influenced by Garvey's ideals, but we're for His Majesty. So we're looking at this wider picture and how Marcus Garvey helped us reach where we are today, you know. So there's, you know, we have to be thankful for that.
You think there could be a Rastafari movement without Marcus Garvey?
I think there would be, but I think that it would be a different story and a different level of impact, you know. I think that with Leonard Howell, and even Leonard Howell is talking about the ideas emanating from the United States and Africans in diaspora over there. Robert Webb, the Reverend, I think it's Reverend Webb, and so forth. You know, they're talking about this universal Black Redeemer that's going to be crowned from Ethiopia. So it's possible that this would still grow, you know, but it wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't be. You've got to look at the wider picture, because Garvey's influence and the upliftment that he gave to Kwame Nkrumah, for example. And Kwame Nkrumah then in turn plays his giant role in the formation of the OAU, with His Majesty as the father figure. Mm-hmm. But really, a lot of the power potential for disruption rested with Nkrumah. You know, like if he had walked away then, we'd be in a totally different story. So if Marcus Garvey's, you know, ideals brought him that far, then that's really important, because the OAU is an example not only to Africans, which is primarily an example for Africans, but it's also an example just for humanity, because what's going on in there at the OAU is that there's potential for this United States of Africa, and you know, nations just suddenly drop their borders, like these radical are going around, and His Majesty's coming in, actually saying that in our diversity and the diversity of our traditions, there is a great strength, you know. And just as I've been able to make Ethiopia independent and to resist colonization, that is your destiny. And then once we've achieved that, we stand up together in one unity, but we're also individual pieces that make that strong castle, you know? So that's really important, because the war against fascism overall for His Majesty, fascism is this trying to exert one world view, you know, forcefully on people. And His Majesty is obviously for a different approach. And I think it is aired in its fullness at the OAU, which is a great foundation for the African continent.
Yes, True. I think I have two more questions for the eye. I know it just gone over 12 now. See, so I've got two more questions. I mean, I've only more questions still, but we just go wind it down.
Yeah, that'll be part 2, Rasta.
Yeah. Time to rise. Time to open up your third eye. Full time you start to realize that all this time they've been telling us one bag of lies. Telling us a God in the sky that for you and I he die. Jenko Jesus or meek or mild. These things they taught us from we were a child. False indoctrinating the innocent minds. Mind control is the signs of the time. Android, cyborg, AI, all these things combined. All these things combined might sound like a rhyme, but the evidence reality is right before your eyes. Under no disguise, the age of Aquarius is the shifting of the time. Sun, moon, stars, the planet in the cosmos align. As the cosmos align, low vibration frequency decline. You strengthen your mind. Access to knowledge, information from the Almighty Creator Divine. The time arise. I feel with time for rise. The time appointed, because I am anointed. The time arise. I feel with time for rise. the time appointed, because I'm anointed.
Smash that subscribe button. See you on the next video. I just start the mindset.